Hi, I'm JJ, and you're listening to Microphone Munchies, food for thought that'll get you hungry for more. So, happy Friday, I think. Yes, happy Friday, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. And if you're here in Toronto, I hope you all have a great long weekend. I hope you get some sleep. I hope you get some rest. I hope you get some energy back. And yeah, so I'll get right into it. I'll be very honest with you. Today, this entire week, I didn't really have anything much to talk about at the beginning. I was like, I don't want to make a podcast this week. But I did promise myself that as much as I could, I would try to make one every week. And there is something actually on that topic I want to talk about. It might be a little bit short today, but hopefully it's still helpful. Today, I want to talk about this idea of movement, of making things, this concept that when you're moving, you're alive, and when you arrive, you're dead. And so I recently just finished a book. It's called The Pursuit of The Happiness of Pursuit by Chris Guillebeau, I think. Oh man, I butchered his name completely. Forgive me, Chris. But basically, it's about quests, right? It's about he's a person who he's been to every country or all the 193 UN recognized countries at the time. And he's been to all these countries, and he did this arbitrary quest, and he interviewed a bunch of people. He saw different stories of people making different quests. For example, there was one person who wanted to photograph more birds than anybody in the world. There are many people who wanted to walk across Turkey or walk across the United States of America or go through these long races, sail around the world, blah, 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 blah. There's so many different quests that people pursue. And Chris, he wanted to look at why people do them, why do people pursue these quests? How do they continue? What drives them? And also, how can we use that information, or how can we use the inspiration in our own lives? And so the big message that I got is that, to be honest with life, a lot of it is really arbitrary. So, for example, we think that a goal is really important, but so what? What is it really? For example, you win a trophy. Okay, so what? The trophy is just a piece of metal. Who cares? In 10 years, people might forget, or maybe in 100 years, people will forget. And something that's really interesting is that as I was reading this book and I was reflecting on my own life, I realized that almost all the time, whenever you achieve something, it's, at least for me, it's never as good as what I thought it would be. Whenever I achieve something, I think back. The great fun of achieving is thinking back to the process, especially if you failed before, especially if you had a lot of struggle and a lot of trials and tribulations. Then when you get success, it means a lot. It's so amazing to feel that overcoming. But to be honest, most of the time when I succeed anyway, it's it's all right. It's nothing that special. After 5 minutes, I already forgot. After 5 minutes, I forget about the victory and I'm thinking about the next thing. Or I get really sad because it's over. And so I guess that's just kind of what I've been reflecting on. This concept that, I think there was an idea from Mark Manson. He says the easiest way to destroy your dreams is to achieve them. Because, part of the fun of dreaming is that it's out of our reach. Part of the joy, I think, is to level up, to try, even though it's out of our reach. But when we get there, sometimes it's not as good as we imagine. And I think that's okay. I think that's part of the learning process. I think that's part of life, which is as we go and try to accomplish these dreams, we become new people. We become different people. I think back to all these different stories, right? Like I talked about in a previous episode, the idea of the hero's journey, how so many stories have very similar, you go out on this great adventure, you find what you're looking for, and then you realize actually what you're really looking for, you had it all along. Whether it's your friends, whether it's your loved ones, or just something about your home. And it just makes me think. It makes me really appreciate the fact that, when you look at all these people out there doing great things, it seems great to us, but for them, it was just another day in the life. Like, basically, if you want to achieve great things, it's not really about the end result. It's just about making a life where every day you're working towards the great thing, or every day you're building something, you're making something, you're creating something, or moving towards something. And I think the interesting part about reading this book, or this concept that movement is life, is that it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Everything in the world is equally as important, equally as cool. For example, when I hear something about, like, someone achieving XYZ, why can't we do it? Why can't you do it? You're human. I mean, you can learn. You can blah, blah, blah. I mean, of course, there are things that maybe, I'll never be the fastest 100-meter runner in the world. But, I mean, besides those things, I mean, there's always something that you can do at any level and at any area of your life. And when I think about that, oftentimes, maybe you feel this way too. I oftentimes I get really worried, I suppose, because I think, look, in nature, everything in nature seems to understand its place and seems to be happy, in its place. But I'm natural, right? I'm a part of nature, and yet I always feel lost, and I don't know why. But I think, at least this is what I'll end with, is that the revelation always, the reminder always, that if movement is life, as long as you're moving somewhere, you're actually exactly where nature intended you to be, whatever that means. Like, anything that we do, I mean, in a weird way, you don't really have to look for something else, because you're already there. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Let me think. How can I make this make more sense? Like, you don't have to try to fit into the world or fit into nature or life, because you're already doing it. The process of finding out where you belong is part of belonging. And so I guess this is kind of a reminder to me, but a reminder to all of you as well. It's that it's just keep going, really. I mean, every day, every chance, every opportunity to live is a fresh one. And we really, look, it's like the butterfly it's like the butterfly effect. We really don't know what could affect what. Like, sometimes you make something, right? Sometimes you post something on the internet, this crazy thing, and maybe just the right person at just the right time will see the post. If you look at almost any biography, almost any history, any of your favorite idols, your heroes, your sports athletes, your musicians, inventors, entrepreneurs, doesn't matter who, you look at their biographies, oftentimes there's a moment of magic, a moment of luck. They're in the right place at the right time. And the only reason why they're in the right place at the right time usually is because they did something. And so at the very least, every time I think I don't want to do it, I don't want to do anything at all, push a little bit. Of course, there are times where you need to rest, times where you need to recuperate, but only you can be honest with yourself and know when is the right time to rest, when is the right time to keep going. But I'll leave you with this. I encourage you, whatever it is you're doing in life, keep going, keep making, keep sharing your work, show your work, so to speak, because you really don't know. Maybe it's this one. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Every time I make something and I think it's going to be amazing, people are going to love it, crickets. No one cares. Every time I put something out there, I make it in 5 minutes. I'm just going to make it, whatever. All of a sudden, everyone's like, wow, this one's really good. And it always shocks me. What I think people want is so different from what people really want. But the only way that I can tell, the only thing that gives me one chance, one shot, one opportunity, the only thing that actually gives me that opportunity is to keep making stuff, to keep sharing stuff. And hopefully something will land. Maybe something will help the right person at the right time. Maybe they'll share it for someone. I don't know. But that's what I'll say for all of you. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. And if you're making something, if you're thinking of making something, if you're planning to start something, whether it's a business, a project, learning a new skill, blah, 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 blah. I'll say this. Personally, in my life, I waste so much time thinking about doing it that when I actually start, if I had just started when I first thought of doing the thing, I would have already finished. So don't be afraid to start. You'll learn as you go. When you start, you'll realize, hey, wait, I actually like writing, or I like making these YouTube videos, or I actually hate it, blah, blah, blah. But you will learn. And doing things, action is the best cure for fear. That's it. That's all I've got to say for this time, for this week. Thank you so much for listening. And again, feel free to share with all your friends, all your people. And yeah, have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. That's JJ out.